In 1866, a group of women from the Kensington Society organised a petition demanding the same political rights as men.
The representation of all householders without distinction of sex.
1,499 women.
I am fortunate to have inspirational family and friends in my life. People whose values I share and whose political stance I respect and agree with. Consideration, enabled by intelligence, was deemed highly important in my childhood. My mother and father would encourage honesty and integrity, the greatest and yet most challenging of virtues. In my household, we had a lot of healthy debates and discussions, and it was through these that we developed a confidence to express our opinion and to express the reasoning behind why we felt a certain way. But more importantly, we were always encouraged to have an opinion. We would discuss topics that most would deem highly unsuitable for younger ladies, but I was always so fascinated by the worldly wisdom my father and mother would impart. I remember as a young girl asking my father why my mother did not join him to vote. He picked me up, and in the most tender voice I ever heard him speak, he told me that the country was not yet ready to embrace the woman's view on the world, but that one day it would be, and that I would be there to see it. One thing I learned from my father, and one thing that I've carried with me to this day, is that he valued his daughters. And this gave me hope. It gave me hope that if he could understand this simple ideology, that women are of importance, then perhaps others could too. For years, I've carried with me this sentiment, and I've longed to be part of such a movement. All the while, I could barely conceive how such an insurmountable task could be achieved with such opposition from women in my own constituent. It has caused me such vexation, their unwillingness to understand the basic human condition, that we all need to be embraced, we all need to feel valued enough to be heard and to have impact on the decisions that affect us. Men rule Parliament, and for many, this is not to be questioned. My thoughts, however, that women should have impact on matters of import have not been dissuaded. And my question for those who feel that this is a radical way of thinking is, how can we as women be expected to contribute to society, our households, pay taxes, and contribute to the law when we have no say in who creates these laws and who dictates them? There is a fundamental lack of reason here. How is half the nation supposed to speak for the entirety of it? Apart from it being blatantly unfair, it is simply not an accurate representation of what this nation wants.
The humble petition of the undersigned showeth that it having been expressly laid down by high authorities that the possession of property in this country carries with it the right to vote in the election of representatives in Parliament, it is an evident anomaly that some holders of property are allowed to use this right, while others, forming no less a constituent part of the nation and equally qualified by law to hold property, are not able to exercise this privilege. that the participation of women in the government is consistent with the principles of the British Constitution, inasmuch as women in these islands have always been held capable of sovereignty, and women are eligible for various public offices. Your petitioners therefore humbly pray your Honourable House to consider the expediency of providing for the representation of all householders, without distinction of sex, who possess such property or rental qualification as your Honourable House may determine. And your petitioners will ever pray.
I therefore support this petition to address the social injustice in our systems. For a right for all to vote is a vote for all that is right.